What is up, everyone? Jason the Train Freak here, and I'm sitting at a little bit of a different spot than I normally sit at. So this time I do not have the huge advantage that I normally have where I normally sit at. But I'm literally sitting right next to the railroad tracks. You could actually look right behind this shoulder, so right out that window, and you can see the railroad tracks. So I'm actually sitting parallel to the tracks. Tennessee River Union Railroad. Chris gets the cookie that I've already ate. Sorry, Chris. And then Hot Dog Pilot Andy is here as well. So welcome, guys. Right now, nothing's happening. I am sitting in downtown Cabot, Arkansas. Just enjoying my late lunch break. I had to go to one of my other locations to do some work, and I literally just got back in town. I did catch Steve Childers' live stream as I was driving on the way back, so unfortunately I had to miss out on that. And Andy, I don't have a plate, but I do have some nice styrofoam, if that's what you would like to lick. I've got some good styrofoam. I ate my lunch while I was driving on the way back, but while I'm driving, that does not count as my lunch break. So, because with my job, if I'm driving between locations, it's still considered being on time. And yeah, Joe, no cookie for you. Sorry. But the location that I normally sit at is a city parking lot on the north side of the tracks, facing kind of like, well, I don't know exactly what direction I'm facing because the roads are not like north, south, east, and west. It's kind of at an angle. But the tracks do have a slight curve that goes through town, so the city built their roads based off of the tracks. So, Wicked Insanity, welcome! One of my newest channel members. Always appreciate having my fellow channel members in the house with me today. So, if you see me looking around, all I'm doing is just kind of looking in my mirrors, because I do have a grade crossing behind me that's a couple of streets behind me. So it's just to kind of see if I see the gates coming down, so that way if there is a train coming from behind, I can see that. Willow Creek Industrial Spur, welcome. But I also do have the advantage of seeing not just the crossing gates right in front of me, but two more sets of crossing gates in front of me to see if those also start to go down, and if they do, then I know we have a train on the way. So it's just one of those things that Union Pacific, they do not run a tight schedule. They send trains when trains are ready to go. So, but like I said, the normal spot that I normally sit and park at, it's one of those that you park like at a 30-degree angle compared to the road. Here, I'm actually in parallel parking. And the guy that's parked right behind me is actually, some people, they face the wrong way. I don't get it. So I'll go ahead and give you a view of what I am currently looking at. So I'm going to change the camera real quick. And like I said, I am literally sitting at the railroad tracks. I am in a piece of I'm in the first parallel parking spot, so that's why it looks like the stop sign's right in front of me, because I'm in the first spot. So, around the podcast says, you rail fan at lunch from your job. I do my job at lunch during my rail fanning. Oh, that's even a better setup. But see, I can't do my job just from anywhere. Yo, Mystic! I am doing well, my friend. So actually, Mystic, I was looking through one of my cotton belt books, and I came across this, and I thought of you when I first saw it, because here lately you've been calling me Captain Cotton Belt. Cotton Belt actually had a little cartoon character, and his name was Cotton Belt, but he wasn't a captain; he was a colonel. So I will grab that book, and I'm gonna send a picture of that to you, and just for the heck of it, why not, right? Yo, Steve Childers! I caught the very end of your live stream, especially with the salesman coming up to the open garage door and did not want to leave you alone right away. Yeah, I don't care for those salesmen either. But unfortunately, I was driving back. I just got here. Sucks I had to miss out. Hopefully next week, because next week I'm off. But I could be working on my customers layout too next week. So we'll have to see what my exact plans for Friday next week are. But anyways, so this is my vantage point, and it looks like we do have something coming. I see crossing gates going down behind me, crossing gates going down in front, and we have a train coming from behind me. So let me see if I can. Well, we're just going to leave the camera this way. You get to see the train come from behind this time and then go away from us. Looks like we got CSX on the point. And the second locomotive is also CSX. So we have a CSX train. Just a mixed freight. He is going south on main number 1. So normally where I sit at, I'm on the other side of the tracks. This time I'm on the other side of the tracks. So I'm on the main 2 side. So he is on main 1. So if we do have a northbound train come, we might have one on main number 2. And this one here's about got everything on it. Glad I didn't get the cookie. Chicken curry is served. That's nice. Oh, wow, there's some old railguns. Quite a few of them. That one looked pretty like it was in good condition. So, for those who have been in my rail fanning live streams before, do y'all like this spot better or do you prefer the other spot? Because I know I'm at a different angle. Lots of auto racks now. And it's going back to mixed freight. So I can see the train in my rearview mirror, and now I'm starting to see the end of it. So the end of it's coming. But you still got about a good 20 cars, maybe. But with as fast as it's going, golly, that railgun was wobbling. So Joe says he likes the other spot. Some new fresh ties. Anybody needs a rail tie. And that last boxcar's got some real wobble. Big time wobble. So around the podcast, I'm thinking about starting a monthly rail fanning, rail photography, rail videography show where I bring a guest on and talk about their work. What do you think? I think it's a good idea. If you got the time for it, definitely nothing wrong with it. Or when you say monthly, I mean, there's two different ways you could look at doing monthly. Is it going to be like, say, the first Wednesday of every week? And I'm just throwing a day out there. Is it going to be, well, Wednesday's a kind of a busy day. That's when Cab Crew and then Humanity Junction has Wednesday. So let's shift it down to Tuesday because you got On Track Tuesday with nothing afterwards. So are you going to do it like the first Tuesday of every week, or are you going to go with like the first day, like the 1st of July, the 1st of August, the 1st of September, and do it that way? So, like, how do you plan on doing it? I'm curious to know. Are you going to, and you said you're going to do it as a live, or no, you didn't. So, are you going to do it as a live, or are you going to do it as a recording? So that would also kind of determine, the way you would want to do it too. Well, that's cool. We got a train today. That's a lot better than this week. I think this week has been nothing but misses on my end, which I only live streamed 2 days this week. I'm gonna go ahead and flip the camera back around. So if you see any shaking, that's just me tapping the screen because I am live streaming from my phone. Hey, Chris made it back. So Chris, I'm sorry, buddy, but I ate your cookie. You came to claim the cookie, but you left. And because you left, I ate your cookie. Oh, it's all good, buddy. It's all good. But yeah, I think it. But run the layout. I think that's a good idea. I think you should definitely do something like that. Have you got some people in mind of who you're thinking about starting off with? Like, do you have like maybe like at least a minimum of 5 names? Because the way you want to do it is you want to go ahead and have stuff ready to go if you're going to go that direction. With my rail yard tag-in episodes, I would come out with today's episode today, but typically I gather everything on Wednesdays, and I do my recordings on Thursday evenings, and I had some stuff come up last night, so I was not able to get that done, but I actually mentioned in my group that instead of doing it weekly, I'm thinking about moving it to every other week. And in doing so, will actually give me more time to I get like a full week to get everything together. I will tell you this, Joe, there is a bigger rail fanning community than a modeling community. There's a lot of people who would rather see the real trains than plastic trains. Unless you are so good at your craft and you can present it so good that your model trains would fool someone and they're thinking it's real stuff. Especially if you're doing modern. Um, so, when you look at, I mean, there's several of us channels that, we do a mix of both. But I know people who just do rail fanning and their channels blow up faster because they have nothing modeling in it. So something to think about. So today's drink of the choice, or choice of drink, I went with Gold Peak Georgia Peach Tea. So this channel is, and this live stream is not sponsored by Gold Peak, but that was the drink of choice for today. Floyd Robbins, welcome. You just missed a train, Floyd. You have to back up about 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it just depends. Like, I don't have a lot of people interested in my layout stuff either, unless it's like, I'm going to tell y'all one thing. Scenery sells. If you can get past plywood planes or, I don't know what you would call it if you're on foam. Some people model on foam, but plywood's what I use. If you can get past the plywood planes and actually get some scenery on there than just buildings sitting on plywood, get grass, get trees, and you start doing like putting up thumbnails that actually look like this does not look like model trains, you would be surprised the increase of viewership you would get on your layout. But it all depends on how you record your video, because if you're recording from up above and, recording looking down kind of like a bird's eye view, people don't want to see that. You actually have to get down on it. And, the best way someone told me is like when you look at scenery and see how well it looks, they say, do your finger like a telescope, right? And close one eye and put it up to your other eye and look at it that way, and it blocks out your peripheral vision, and you only see, what you're focused on. And if you can get your eye level down and not looking down but looking flat on it, then that's how you know like how good your scenery and stuff looks. Okay, Floyd, that's cool. You got an appointment later. That's totally understandable. I mean, I'm only going to be on here for about another 30, 45 minutes at the most. So, I mean, I get a 1 hour break from my lunch. Now, the cool thing about if I go to these other locations, I can clock in and clock out from my phone. So, if I'm driving back from another location and I go to lunch on, in between, I don't clock out on lunch until I get set somewhere. And then, because my drive back to the building is still considered drive time. So I'm able to stream just a few minutes longer on those days. If I'm in my office, I have to clock out from inside my office, walk out to my truck, go get my food, go get parked, get on the stream. That's if I feel like streaming. And then to clock back in, I got to get back to work. Now, thankfully for me, I only work a few minutes away. Like, I can be there in 5 minutes. So, okay, Floyd, that's cool. 20 minutes. Hey, I appreciate you being here. Whether you're here for 5 minutes, 20 minutes, hour, doesn't matter to me. I just appreciate you being here. So, that's all that matters to me. So, thanks for coming in. But anyways, so today's one of those days that I get to be a couple of minutes later. I would have went to my normal parking spot today, but it's kind of full, and so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit over here and see what happens. So this is my other little hot spot that I sit at, and it's literally 2 blocks away, so I can see the parking spot that I normally sit at. Okay, so it would be alive. So I'm curious. Who do you got in mind that you would like to ask to see if they would be interested in, going live with you one night? Yo, Papa John trains. Lunchtime with a freak. That's exactly right. What is going on, Papa John? I'm just sitting here at the tracks. You already missed one train go by. Now, if another train's coming or not, I have no earthly idea, because where I'm sitting at, I can't see the signals. I do not have much of a view. Now, I can see there's grade crossings behind me, so I'm looking in my rearview mirror here, or I can look in my rearview mirror over there, and I can see what's behind. In front of me, I mean, of course, I have this, Freaky Friday. That's what I'm talking about. Freaky Friday. I'm gonna tag that, Steve. Now, if I only had that Safe Tran bell with me, that would be even better, but that would hurt my freaking ears if I had to turn that thing on. But I have 3 sets of grade crossings in front of me, which one of them is literally right at me. All right. We got the Tuna Can Kerley Express, the Tuna Can Express in the house. So welcome, Dwight. So Chris is saying, when I worked overnight at Walmart, I go at lunch at 2 to 3 a.m. to the FEC yard in Fort Pierce and just happen to be busy and eat lunch, watching trains passing and usually one being built in the yard. That's what's cool. Freight Train Drifter is one of my favorite railfanners besides Captain Cottonbelt, of course. Well, I appreciate that, Mystic. So with over 100 episodes of my model railroading podcast, I have quite a pool to pull from. Oh, absolutely. See, look at there. See, yep. See, Mystic, I think Andy's trying to correct you, saying it's Colonel Cottonbelt. Mystic, I promise you, over this weekend, I will send you a picture of that. I thought that was so cool when I went through and looked at it. So the reason why I went through my Cottonbelt books is because I am looking for something, and you're not going to find it online. So if any of you try, you're wasting your time, because I have been trying for weeks. Cottonbelt used to have 40-foot composite gondolas. And nobody has a picture of them. Oh, there goes the state trooper. Nobody has a picture of them. These are wooden gondolas that have metal bracing on the outside. One manufacturer has ever made a model of them, but we don't know how correct it is. And that was Atlas. But they didn't make it in HO scale. They only made it in N scale. So you can eBay and see models of this 40-foot composite gondola in N scale. And so now I am glutton for punishment. And I'm going to go explain to you why I'm a glutton for punishment on this one. So y'all know I'm building this big sawmill area on my layout. That's like what I'm working my scenery on. You name it. Cottonbelt had wood chip hoppers. Now keep in mind, I modeled 1958. Well, Cottonbelt got 50 wood chip hoppers, 3-bay wood chip hoppers in 1962. So that's 4 years past. They didn't have any open hoppers until they got about 100 2-bay open hoppers that doesn't have the extended height sides in 1963. So I got with the historian of the Cottonbelt Railroad Historical Society, who is a good friend of mine. And this guy has like all the folios of like what they're, what they would, kind of like blueprints is what they call them, of locomotives, passenger cars, rolling stock, you name it. And he sent me the folios of the wood chip hoppers and of the 2-bay hoppers and of other different types of gondolas that the Cotton Belt didn't get until the 60s. So my glutton for punishment is I'm going to be scratch building 4 gondolas, wooden gondolas that they used to haul wood chips, ballast, anything and everything. They used gondolas. It kind of blew my mind. Not hoppers, gondolas. So, yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment on this one. Because how can you try to scratch build and model something that you don't even have a prototype picture of? So, in this instance, I have to trust Atlas, hoping that they did it right. So yeah. How long it will take me to do those, I have no clue. But I started buying materials from my local hobby shop. Yesterday I spent $120 on styrene and detail parts, couplers, wheel sets, all of that good stuff. And he didn't have everything I needed in stock, so he's got more stuff, on order for me that I'll have to go do. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. So my layout is proto lance. I try to get as prototypical as possible, but I am still freelanced as far as my industries. As far as the Cascade Milling and Lumber Company, never existed on the Cotton Belt. There were some sawmills, and there were paper plants that would receive wood chips, but not Cascade. And then, of course, there was no Shakasit. Wilson and Company, which is my meat cannery that Steve Childers supplies my beef, or my dressed cattle, dressed cuts, never existed. The only industry that is on any of my any of the layout that actually did exist is Riceland. And Riceland was actually in Wiener, which is the town that it's currently sitting in. It's not going to stay there. I'm going to move it. It's going to go to the town of Stuttgart. But the grain silo is nowhere near the size of what's over at Stuttgart. So, car swapping soon. That's what I'm talking about. Where's the beef? Well, the beef is somewhere around Steve Childers' layout. Man, y'all talking about food. Good thing I've already ate, because we're talking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner is going to be pizza. Papa John's is talking about brats and onion rings and spicy pickles for lunch. Oh boy. So, man, I'll tell you, I like pizza for breakfast a lot better than I do for lunch or dinner. Something about cold pizza. I don't know what it is, but it is so good. So good. So, but I appreciate everyone for hanging out with me today. Like I said, new spot. And today's one of those days that I didn't wear a work shirt. Actually wore a train shirt. And Steve would have been proud of me, because the shirt that I'm wearing, you really can't see it. I'll see if I can angle the camera down. It's my Cumbres and Toltec shirt. That would have matched Steve's hat. So, see, that's right. So cattle comes into Steve's and swinging meats. That definitely don't sound right. And swinging meats, come to me. Mystic, I bet you would make a killing doing that. But you would have to make your pizzas overnight and go ahead and cut the slices up and then put them in the refrigerator, the units, and then serve them for breakfast. That's a good idea. Now, I don't know how well that's going to work up there in New England, but down here in the South, I think that would work very well. You might have to come back to Nolans to do that. So, but anyways, so who has big plans for next week? I mean, next week is I get off. I'm off on Thursday. I took off on Friday next week. We're going to pull the camper down to Hot Springs, and I've got someone that's possibly going to. We're hoping to maybe not take the dogs, and I'll have someone house sitting the dogs, hopefully. But yeah, that would be nice. Oh, absolutely. That's the key, Steve. If Mystic was to start a breakfast pizza chain, college campuses, exclusive to college campuses. And if you started with the SEC schools, and maybe I don't know how well the Big 12 is now, but the SEC schools, now that they're 16, they'll sell like hotcakes. That and the Sunbelt schools too. Something about us in the South, man, we just love cold pizza. It's probably because it's so hot during the summer. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Yep. Over at Caboose Stop Hobbies, that's where Joe's money's at. I know Joe is saving up because he's waiting on me to buy a Blue Nami decoder for my Alco RS1, so that way he can buy my used one for half the price of what a new one would cost. Cheerios. So that's what Cheerios, with beard pour in it, I would assume. Cheerios. See, I told you. See Joe's response. Yep, he's waiting on that. I think I got Joe sold on them Tsunami 2s, man. There goes a C-130 flying away. Actually, 2 C-130s in formation. I don't know how well we'll be able to see them on camera, but I will try. Let's see here. Let's see where they're at. C-130s right over my finger. Yeah, I guess with them flying away, you can't really see them. You might be able to on a big screen, but on my phone, I really can't see them. He's in the process of going behind the grade crossing now. So Steve Childers, as far as your Cheerios go, what's your beer of choice to put in Cheerios? I would be interested to know. The Mystic being like, y'all cracking me up. I'm telling you, Mystic, I think it's a good idea. You would have no competition. It's not like you're going in with a burger joint and you got to compete with, McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King and some of the other burger joints out there. Papa John's, I am sitting right beside the Union Pacific Hoxie subdivision. That runs from North Little Rock, Arkansas to Poplar Bluff, Missouri. And a little less than halfway between, in a town called Bald Knob, Arkansas. It splits off and was, and that's where you would have the Memphis subdivision. So where I'm currently sitting at between North Little Rock and Bald Knob, it's double tracked all the way with crossovers, and both tracks are bidirectional. So if a train comes through here, I have no clue if it is going to or coming from, depending on the direction, Memphis, Tennessee, or Poplar Bluff, Missouri. I have no clue. With the hangover, the brand does not matter, just cold. All right, so does it matter if it's what type of beer? If it's like an ale, a lager, something light, something dark? I don't know if I'd ever try Birrios because, like, personally, I'm not a beer drinker. Now, I would try it with maybe some whiskey and do Whiskey-O's. All right, Floyd. Hey, I appreciate you coming in. I hope you have a great week, buddy. And we will see you next time. Okay, so yeah, Papa John, I'm just about 20, 20 to 30 miles northeast of Little Rock. Warm Chongo would be good. If I was to try Whiskey-O's, I would probably try it with either Jack Daniels or Crown Royal. And I'd probably try it with one of their different flavored ones and not the original, if I was to try it. Yo, Steven, Wigwag, welcome. You've already missed the train for the day. I'm hoping another one comes. So ironically, the train that came through here wasn't even a UP train. It was a CSX train. Yeah, Jim Beam would be another one. The only thing about Jim Beam is it's more bourbon than it is a whiskey. So, hey, Thomas Moore, MH&E Railroad, welcome. Oh, wow, you rode your bike to Texas in 2005. Wow. That's a long ride, because aren't you up like in Ohio? Ohio, I think you're in Ohio. You're over there close to what, Fostoria? So, Steve, there is a difference. There is a difference. All whiskeys are bourbons, but all bourbons are not whiskeys. Whiskey, and this is per Jack Daniel's Distillery when I took the tour. The difference between a whiskey and a bourbon is whiskey adds a step, and they call it mellowing. And so after they distill the bourbon, they will drip the bourbon through charcoal. And so that's per Jack Daniels. Bourbon does not mellow. And so that's what Jack Daniels told us when we went through the tour a few years ago. Oh, looks like we got another train coming. And this one, I think, is going to come in front of us. Because the gate's in front. Yes, it is. Here it comes. And it is a Union Pacific. Union Pacific train. Here he comes. I'm going to see if I can adjust the camera and angle it just a little better. Ooh, that made it almost worse. There we go. Let's try that. Brand new painted locomotive on number 2. So the second unit was a new paint. But anyways, so that I'm just telling you what Jack Daniels said, what the distillery in Lynchburg, Tennessee said. Now, if you get a bottle of Gentleman Jack, then they actually mellow it twice, and that's why it's more expensive than the old number 7 label. See, these type of trains here are my favorite trains, the mixed freights. You know, you just get a difference of everything. Hey, Randall Ellison, welcome. Oh, is she really? That's pretty cool. Yeah, Tennessee Fire is good. I like the Tennessee Honey the best. I'm not as a big drinker as I used to be, especially when I was in college. But this train's limited to 45 miles an hour. That's why this one's going a little slower than the other ones. If y'all didn't notice, there was an empty flat car that just came through. If there's an empty flat, trains cannot go no faster than 45. All right, Chris, I appreciate you popping in. Have a good day, my friend, and we will see you next time. And I see the end coming up. A whole bunch of tank cars. Some hydrochloric acid. That next to last covered hopper said North Dakota Mill. So that car came from a long ways. And now y'all get to see all the traffic. Try to go through here. So Randall lives about 3 hours north of me. And we're on different railroads. He is on the BNSF Thayer subdivision. I'm on the Union Pacific Hoxie subdivision. And both of our subdivisions cross each other in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And Jonesboro is, I would say, probably 2.5 hours northeast of me. It's just an estimate. Joe, I think that's all of us. Jack hasn't learned how to put it in notch 2 yet. Got to give Jack a hard time, though. He's a good friend. I'm hoping the next time I get to go down to Flying Crows, maybe Jack and Grandpa Rails, JD we can all get together and have an ops session over at Robert's in his train shed. That would be a lot of fun. Hoxie. Yeah, I forgot about Hoxie. Is that where the Thayer crosses? Is that? Oh, Randall, I got it wrong. Yes, it's Hoxie is where the Thayer and the Hoxie subdivision cross. Jonesboro is where the Jonesboro sub and yeah, that's the old Cotton Belt and the Thayer crosses, which is another Union Pacific line. So the Hoxie and the Jonesboro subs, they kind of parallel each other, and Union Pacific mostly uses the Jonesboro sub to Pine Bluff and the Pine Bluff sub down to Texarkana as mostly southbound traffic, and then they use the Little Rock sub, which is Texarkana to Little Rock, and the Hoxie sub, which is Little Rock to Poplar Bluff, Missouri, as mostly northbound traffic. So, yeah, there you go, Steve. Yeah, I mean, you're probably maybe a little bit further from Robert than I am, maybe. So, but yeah, the Hoxie sub does not go to Jonesboro, so I said that wrong. So thank you, Randall, for correcting me on that. Now, every once in a while, we'll have a BNSF local run through here. It's been a hot minute since I've caught it. BNSF will run a local out of Memphis, Tennessee. It's the only local that doesn't make a direct turn. Okay, we've got flashy lights again. I think we might have another train. And we do. We have a southbound. So we have one coming up from behind us. That might be a grain train. Maybe. It's got a UP locomotive on the point. Second locomotive, I cannot tell yet. But so far, I'm seeing nothing but covered hoppers. So he's coming up from behind. And this will more than likely be the last train of the day. It's another UP locomotive as the second. Here he is. And it is a mixed freight. But mostly covered hoppers so far. Yeah. So Randall, Jonesboro, that's the old Cotton Belt, and Hoxie's the old Mopac. Or the Missouri Pacific. There's an old KCS black covered hopper that just went through. No longer KCS though. Like I said, it's mostly covered hoppers. Okay, so it takes me about 4 hours, Steve, to get down to Robert. But of course, I'm going through Texarkana. Okay, so that is only one single loaded coal car. I wonder where that's headed. Because I doubt it's going to a power plant, but it's loaded with coal. Yo, Tim, CP368 Productions. Clicked it early and then forgot to come back. Well, I actually went live early. I went live about 15 minutes early. So when I do these lunchtime railfannings, I'm just kind of estimating what time I'm going and what time I'll be there. So if I get there early, I'm going to go ahead and start early because I'm already on my lunch break. So even though it says 30 minutes before I start, does not necessarily mean it's going to be 30 minutes. But that could also go a different direction too. I might end up getting there later than normal. And somebody just tried calling me, and I don't know who it was. I'll have to call them back. And here comes the end. No, it wasn't my boss. It was a number I did not recognize. No, I would have known if it was my boss calling. She's added in my phone. And there it goes. Slowing down, it looks like. And the gates go up. And the traffic flows through. Joe, no. The only car that demands a lower speed when emptied is just straight flat cars. Doesn't matter if they're 50 foot, 60 foot, or if they're the longest of 89 foot. It doesn't matter. Bulkhead flats, they're not demanded a lower speed either. But the reason why the standard flats are is because if it goes too fast, it will start to levitate, and that will cause a derail. So if your track speed on your layout is 55 miles an hour, 55 scale miles an hour, Randall, that could be true as long as they don't have shields on them. If they got shields, they're fine because there's enough weight. But yeah, if you're running a track speed of 55 miles an hour, you got an empty flat, you got to back it down if you want to be correct. And of course, it is after lunch, so you can see there's a lot of traffic. They're waiting on the traffic signal at the next block to open up so they can funnel through. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes. I got someone fixing to go in front of me with some canoes and a couple of kayaks. Looks like they're going to have a good time this weekend. I keep it under 88 miles an hour to stop disappearing. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, everything else, like even a bulkhead flat, if it's empty, or a centered beam, the extra weight of the center beam or the bulkheads makes it to where the car won't lift. So here's some trivia for you. What is the heaviest piece of rolling stock when empty compared to all other rolling stocks? But it's also the lightest when it's fully loaded. I've asked this question before. And no one got it right. It's been a while since I've asked it. Yeah, Randall, I wonder if UP's going to do the same thing. Not sure. Good guess, but the answer is no. It is not a passenger car. Before these cars were created, that would be the correct answer. And they don't run heavyweights anymore, so. It is the heaviest when empty compared to all the other freight rolling stocks, and the lightest when loaded. Alright, so looky there, guys. I'm fixing to pop off here in just a minute or two. So make sure y'all go check out Papa John Trains before I leave. Okay, Steve, that would make both of us. And my air is older than yours. I'm running nothing but heavyweights. Alright, so the answer to that is the auto rack. The auto rack, when it is empty, is heavier than any other freight rolling stock at its empty state, but when fully loaded with vehicles, it is lighter than any other car when fully loaded. So, there is your trivia for the day. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and flip this back around. Unfortunately, guys, I've got to head back. I've got to go and grind out till about another 3 hours, and then I'm off for the weekend. There is the distinct possibility that I might go live either tonight or tomorrow night, Sunday, don't know yet. If I'm going to be working on the layout, I might go live. Not real sure yet, so just kind of stay in tune on that. And if I do go live, it'll be last minute. So, other than that, I appreciate all of y'all coming in here. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, a great weekend to come, and I will see y'all next time. So, happy railroading.